Welcome to 13. This week, we're going to do it. We're bringing closure to the Doordash Transparency test I have been doing in my market. Again, always my market, the hours I work, my findings, market to market, everything's different. Everything's different. If you guys want to reach out to me, you can always reach out to me at steve@ridesharerodeo.com. Please send me an email. I will get back to you as soon as I can. But let's jump into 13 for this week. And remember, comments are not only appreciated, but encouraged on this video because I want eyes to get on these. I want these to be seen. So I want to bring closure to this transparency law here in Colorado in terms of my findings on Doordash only. And I want to remind you guys, I have done 10 dashes since the new year. Now I'm still doing my B2B in the day. Still making the money that I make in the day. And I don't work Doordash that often until this year, until this transparency. But now I've been working a lot of extra hours doing Doordash in the evenings and weekends, and I'm not multi-apping. Many of you are probably saying, you're crazy, dude. Why would you even do this if you're not multi-apping? Normally I would be, but with the new transparency law in effect, I did not want anybody challenging my findings, which will go deeper than we'll get in today, but I think we're going to get through it all. But I didn't want anybody challenging and saying, well, if you had the other app on, they could communicate. No, none of that. I've just had Doordash on after I've worked a full day of doing what I normally do, B2B stuff. The TNC and DNC Colorado transparency laws are in effect. And I want to note that my insights, the following insights that I'm about to give, are based on my market in my state and my findings. Now, I've conversed with a lot of people. Some of you out there will be watching this, and and thank you very much for your time. I appreciate it. It's helped with me putting this together. Since the end of December, and I'm talking the very end, and I didn't do it much then, but they already had initiated the transparency, even though it was prior to January 1st when it went into effect. Doordash had, Uber Eats has not yet, but we're not going to talk about Uber Eats today. We will be talking about them. For those who are not aware, I'm a bottom feeder, a low dasher, a low AR dasher. And here's why, though. Because I have never been, the only time I was up at 90, 80, 70% is as I fell from 100% when you start. And I started years ago as I fell past those numbers. I never climbed back up. I hadn't been over 18% in the last 3 years. Now, again, I don't do Doordash as much as many of you, but I had not been above 18%, and I usually rode like 7 to 13%, but I was only working a few hours a week on the Doordash platform. Been able to schedule a lot longer shifts. I've been talking to a lot of you. I've said you've also noticed that as well. A lot of scheduling is open, even to the bottom dashers. But a lot of findings here. My main reason for not wanting to get to the tiers, just in case you guys are curious or new to the channel, is I do not condone, I want to make sure I get the wording that I put here correctly. I do not believe or condone gig apps illegally using metrics, and I have it all in caps, illegally using metrics within the app that contradict state law definitions of independent contractors. And that's going to be very important, and I wanted those words noted word for word. That's exactly how I meant to say it, illegally. So we're going to open up the data here. This is my last 3+ weeks of findings because it's now the 19th that I'm recording this. And it was just a couple days before the new year, but it wasn't really till after the new year. So I'm going to also challenge you guys as we go along here. I want you guys to leave anything that you're hearing me talking about, what it's like in your market, or compare it to something in your market. Give me a flavor for your market, how it's going these last 3 weeks. Because again, something majorly different is in Colorado, but even other Colorado cities outside of Denver, please, and even Denver, comment. Everybody comment. I want to know what's going on in your markets because I just spent a lot of extra time putting this together and really diving into Doordash, which had not done in a while. So I've the last 10 that I've done after my B2B stuff during the day have been dashes. I've done 10 dash onlys, dedicated dashes to Doordash. I just to set the parameters for you guys, every offer I took had to be at least $2 a mile, at least. And other than that, I've tried a lot of things on live streams. I've let you guys decide on the live streams or the ride-alongs. like, what do you want me to do today? Like, well, you can only skip 2. Okay, so we've tried lots of things pre-transparency, but I was just kind of playing my gut how I would on other gig apps. And the only standard I set on myself was anything at $2 a mile or more, take it. Because now, just to make you guys aware as well, here in Colorado, if you haven't heard us talking about this yet, you will see 2 lines on every offer. You will see the total pay that you're going to get. Right next to it, which is included in that total, you're going to see the tip. Whether it's $15, $100, or $0, you're going to see it. It won't say no tip, it'll say $0 tip. Now, in Colorado, these cannot be changed. The customer cannot call and add to the tip, nor can he remove it. And if he can, it contradicts what we talked about last week about deactivations because people are removing their tips. Because now the law says whatever the transparent offer is what needs to be paid to you. So we have a problem there too. But let's jump in. My findings, and I've been doing this since rideshare since 2015, right? So I've been in the gig economy doing all the apps forever, but I want to give you guys a little metric here. So in Denver, January is a slow month. A lot of you are going to agree with that. Some of you might say I do pretty well in January. Depends where you are. Depends on your market. It's like saying summer slowdown when you're a summer market that 4 months a year rages only in the summer. So there are differences all the time. But the order volume, now this is with the transparency, and I'm able to schedule a ton, which I was not able to do before. I can schedule every day from 9 a.m. to midnight. It's open every day now. I usually have to do it 2 to 3, 4 days out, but I can always get that in Colorado. Before I could barely grab a 2-hour block on a Friday evening, let's say. So, now I want to take this out of order. So my AR when I started this, let's call it January 1st, even though it was really a couple days before, was 11%. Okay. I've done 10 dashes. They ranged in hours. Each one of them was at least 3 hours and all the way up to 7. But that was after full days of working other apps too. But these were dedicated dashes, no other apps going in all of that time, which I call real time. And I know some people call it dash time. And then there's active time. I don't believe in dash and active time. If you know me, you know that. There is only real time, you guys. The rest is just a scam. I'm not seeing as many orders, but I've been through January before. I know that to not expect as many, but I'm really not seeing as many. But every one that I accepted, okay, now remember I was at 11% AR. Every one that I accepted was at least $2 or up. 80% were $2.25. 80% of the offers that I accepted. 20% of the offers were $3 or more. So I had a couple decent ones, whatever. But interesting that my AR was at 11% 4 weeks ago. And to put it into perspective, as of today, when I finished this 10th dash, I am now at 37% AR without chasing the AR metric because I don't believe in it. It's illegal. Again, illegal. So I wanted to make that clear that just happened from them having to show me all the details and taking good offers. Again, if they had all been $1 a mile, my AR would have actually dropped from the 11% and I wouldn't be reporting these findings. And so I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not loving what Doordash does, but I just wanted to get this out to you guys. So that is what I'm making. I'm seeing way less offers on the dashes. And if I take the real time on the app, usually the hourly pay that it's breaking down to is not very good. If I were to go by their stupid active time metric, which means nothing at all, and I hope you guys really understand that. It means nothing at all. If I were to go by that, it looks like I'm doing decent. Now, what I can say is I was making more money now per hour, real hour, that I'm invested in this, accepting the ones I'll accept and whatnot, by about $6, $7 an hour than I was just days prior to it going transparent. I want to talk about Doordash versus independent contractor law, state law, and this is in all of the lower 48. I believe we have confirmation on Alaska, and I need to check on Hawaii. I'm not sure with Hawaii's independent contractor law, but I'm not saying that I think it's wrong either. I just have not dove into it yet. but most of the states are pretty close. Their language might vary a little, but this is Doordash versus independent contractor state law in 48 for sure, probably 49, probably 50, all 50 states. So here we go. Acceptance rating for an independent contractor. Now remember, Doordash classifies us in the terms of service as an independent contractor, period. They do it in every terms of service. Acceptance rating, illegal, not legal. Not legal to have an acceptance rating. On time or early metric, not legal. Now again, this goes back to the days you guys might remember or might not about Domino's, 30 minutes are free, and they got sued for having a timer on those. You cannot put people who are independent contractors delivering things on a time metric. Now obviously, there needs to be some kind of things in place, but you can't have a score for them. So on time or illegal, not legal, but it encourages, not legal, but it encourages bad driving, and it's hard to check up on. But here's where my big problem with all of that part comes in, is that at the end of every dash, and I know most of you have turned it off because you keep asking me when I'm doing the live streams, why don't you just turn it off? Because I don't want to, I want to see it. It's illegal for them to use it, is telematics. That is illegal for them to use. A checkbox, by the way, is not going to carry weight anymore. A checkbox saying, I agree to let you gauge my driving. But where my conflict is with this one, and I've reached out to a couple of attorneys, by the way, and my state officials here, as we have some craziness going on. The conflict on time or early, which you guys have all seen in the Dasher app, conflicts with telematics because the on time or early is telling you what time you need to be somewhere. And telematics is telling you if you're hard braking, you're accelerating too fast. Well, they're telling you to be somewhere by a certain time. They don't, I know that they do it to sell our data, but they're not qualified to do the telematics, and they definitely shouldn't be having metrics that conflict with it. And the last thing I want to let you guys know here today, I have recently been introduced and teamed up with a new partner in the fight for transparency in the state of Colorado. However, we will be taking it national here probably by the end of next month, which is the ADA, the American Disabilities Act. And I'm going to leave you guys with a little taste for the next time. Because if you guys think about it, that's one of the most powerful agencies in the country at making sure things get done without loopholes. And that's 13 minutes of gig news in just under 13 minutes. Boom!